Well, in the meantime, President Trump's plan to build the Iron Dome of America is taking baby steps forward this week with a new ask out for contractors to submit ideas for construction. Now, the plan is a nod to the missile defense system that has successfully been used by Israel for more than a decade at this point. It was designed to intercept rockets and mortars that travel under 44 miles and was 90% effective in October of 2023 when Iran fired 200 ballistic missiles at Israel. So here's how it works. When an enemy rocket is fired, the Iron Dome radar system detects and tracks it within seconds. Then the control system estimates its point of impact. Then the launcher fires a missile to intercept and destroy it. So back here at home, the U.S. would need to deploy more than 24,000 so-called Iron Dome batteries to defend the entire continental U.S. at a total cost of trillions of dollars. President Trump's executive order gives the Pentagon 2 months to submit guidelines. So joining me now, NewsNation senior national contributor, retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General Richard Newton. General, great to see you. I have to say, personally, I am fascinated by the idea of this. So before we get into any specifics, what do you envision when you hear this idea proposed of a U.S. Iron Dome?
Well, good afternoon, Nichole. It certainly is potentially a major undertaking and, frankly, a major item added to our new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth's job jar. But what this entails is, I know President Trump has termed it as an Iron Dome, but this isn't, I don't think this resembles really anything close to what Israel has, which is really more of a very effective defense system that started on about 2011 or so to protect Israel against short-range missile attacks like we saw. You know, I've been on air a number of times back in April and October of last year. This is much more broad, and it's more broad in terms of bringing in now 2025 capabilities and technologies that didn't exist back in the day when President Reagan first surfaced this under the Strategic Defense Initiative in 1983. This includes land-based, but also air-based capabilities, but certainly space-based capabilities as well. Much broader in scope, much broader in scale. But with the threats not on the horizon, but here now, especially from Russia and China, I think the time is now to take a really deep dive into that. And that's what President Trump's doing, is trying to muster the best and brightest to provide for the United States a much more effective missile defense system than we have right now.
Yeah, so General, there are these potential, threats, present-day threats. But do you think this type of protection system is needed? I mean, considering we have, at this point, gone hundreds of years without one.
Well, back in 2023, there was a bipartisan congressional commission. They did a review looking at the United States strategic posture, and they unanimously recommended that the United States pursue what they termed an integrated air missile defense system to do just that, as we talked about, is to deter Russia and China. And if they can't be deterred in terms of their potential attacks from, say, missiles, cruise missiles, even hypersonic missiles, that they'd be able to defeat those threats. And I know a couple of members of that commission. These are the best and brightest in my view, and they unanimously came forward with this proposal, again, almost 2 years or so ago. So there's a value need, a value requirement right now. Now it's just a matter of if we're able to tap into the technologies, especially, Nichole, the space-based capabilities that we now have that can sense, that can find, fix, and target, and even you can use interceptors from space perhaps to defeat a missile attack.
All right, so there's a lot of money involved here, so no surprise that there are a lot of defense industry companies that are more than willing and ready to try to help. Do you think, though, that there's any particular company that currently sits possibly in the best position when it comes to technology to handle this?
No, I don't. We've got major defense firms such as Lockheed Martin and Boeing and Raytheon and so forth. I think what you're going to see is not just one. You could have, a prime among those, but I think you're going to see several defense companies. I would also advise, and our little viewers understand, there are a tremendous number of smaller companies, defense firms, that can really lend a very credible, capable hand here to what we call the major defense primes as well. There's lots of technology out there. There's lots of talent there across the American landscape and defense industry, especially in missile defense. So I think that's what you're going to see play out.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.